Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be an exciting panel. Quick introduction of who I am. My name is Shaloo Garg, and I head up the startup business growth for Microsoft. I'm also responsible for pre-IPO, pre-unicorn growth strategy, and very soon will be heading up the social entrepreneurship wing at Microsoft. Besides that, I'm a champion of innovation at UN. And every Friday, whenever I have a breather, I also teach at Penn Law School on global civil rights via Zoom. So there's no way I can fly down there. But whenever time permits, I do give back from there. I have to tell you, I am extremely humbled and gratified to be on a panel with this amazing entrepreneurs here. I'll let them introduce themselves in just a second here. But in the next 30 minutes or so, what we're really going to drill down into is a couple of aspects. I'm sure majority of you are founders here, right? What we really want to get into is the human aspect of being a founder, is the impactful aspect of being a founder. And we're going to drill into the journeys of each one of these amazing entrepreneurs as to what they have gone through to reach where they are today. So please, firstly, give them a big round of applause. Okay. So with that, Ketan, why don't you take it away?
Hi, my name is Ketan. I'm the founder of HireClub, where we help people accelerate their careers with career coaching. And what coaching really does, there's both a transformational and transactional aspect. Transactional can be, I want to improve my salary, I want to learn how to manage up, I want to improve my resume. And transformational can be things like, hey, I have these roadblocks, I have perspectives I want to shift, I want to be more confident. And we started as a community of 29,000 now, and we just closed our pre-seed round, which
Congrats.
I'm very excited about. And I really do love helping people succeed in their careers.
That's amazing. I'm calling you.
Yes, please do. If you want to make more money, I'm the guy.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Ketan. Good to have you here. Ruben?
Hi, everybody. My name is Ruben Harris. I'm the CEO of Career Karma, which is a marketplace that matches people to job training programs starting with coding boot camps. So if you're someone that wants to become a software engineer, we have a 3-week preparation process that gets you into the program. And then if you are a training program, we have software so you can support them. Before this, I also launched a podcast called Breaking Into Startups that's reached over 3 million people, sharing stories of people from non-traditional backgrounds that broke into tech. And before this, I worked at 3 other startups and a bunch of other things. So
That's amazing. Good to have you here. Thank you. Irma?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Irma Olguin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Bitwise Industries. And what we do is we activate the technology industry in cities the world has forgotten about. We use 3 different tools to do that. Education, how do you get somebody coming out of a story of poverty into the technology industry? The second is infrastructure. How do you give them a sense of place such that they don't feel like they need to leave their underdog city to actualize the experience of being a technologist in that place? And then third is industry. How do you prove to the world that you can build and ship world-class software using non-traditional talent in non-traditional places? We just announced earlier this year that we closed our Series A at $27 million and are expanding
Fantastic.
across the United States.
Very cool. Thank you. Good to have you here. So what I want to really drill into is, obviously, the conference here is about tech inclusion, right? I want to drill into your respective journeys. Sometimes it's very personal. Like, I always meet founders and I ask them, hey, what got you to this point today? And they always have a story, and I'm always intrigued by that story. So what I would love for you all to do is bring forward that story to the audience here, that what got you where you are today. So, Irma, do you want to go first?
Yeah, certainly, and thanks for asking that question. I think it's an important one for the reasons that we all do what we do. And the short story for me is I grew up the daughter of farm laborers. So what a lot of people don't know about Central California is that we're responsible for producing much of the world's food. And so because agriculture is the driving industry there, you have this really sort of wealth extracting industry that sort of takes over that region. And so when you grow up that way, there isn't a lot that you're expecting of yourself. College isn't a part of it. Startups aren't a part of it. Being a CEO isn't a part of that. And through a number of really sort of serendipitous moments of my life, I ended up going to college, and I ended up starting a couple of companies. And now I'm sitting in this chair talking to you all. And so what Bitwise does, and the reason that there's so much heart behind what we do, and so much inclusion, and so much a human-centered or human power focus in what we do, is because we want to take the story that was my life and make it less about serendipity and more about intention, more about exposing young people to the skills and to a dream that could change their lives.
That's amazing. Ruben?
Yeah, so I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a shout out to ATL. So I'm a product of God-fearing parents that taught me the importance of independence while being mindful of your community. I spoke Spanish growing up, and I played the cello. I've been playing cello since I was 4 years old. And my parents always wanted to give me things that nobody could take away from me but myself. Mm-hmm. And as someone that's focused on preparing workers for the fourth industrial revolution or for the future, we can't predict what jobs are gonna exist. Who knew that there was gonna be a podcaster or a YouTuber as a full-time job today? But what is important to know is like what opportunities are out there, what's the training that's required in order to get that training, and to embrace lifelong learning. So I've embraced that from the beginning. Growing up in Atlanta, I did not know black people were minority. So when I left Atlanta, I was confused why people were ashamed to be black. So I've always been proud to be black and Latino. So yeah, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. Ketan?
Well, I was born in Bombay, India, and my dad was one of the original database programmers back in the day when they used punch cards. And he moved us to a wonderful place called Louisville, Kentucky in the 80s. If you can imagine, as a little brown kid in Louisville, Kentucky, what my experience was, it was worse than that. And the way I got my start, I won this contest in school where I sold the most amount of chocolates, and I won an Atari when I was 6 years old. And my database dad returned it, which obviously was a big bummer. And so he got us a TI-994A, used cassettes to program, and I started learning how to make games. I started programming that way because I couldn't play the games I wanted to play. And so fast forward to the .com 20 years later when I had a real job programming, but in the dot bust I lost my job. And it was a really painful time for 6 months where I was unemployed. I'm sure a lot of you have felt that pain. And I ended up getting a divorce during that time. It was just a really painful time when you don't have income and you have to support a family. And this is one of the reasons I started HireClub, because that time period, I don't want anyone to go through that. You feel really alone. You feel like no one's there to support you. And one of the reasons we started HireClub was, hey, we can all do this together. You don't have to do it alone. You can find people to support you. You can find a coach to support you. And so I really believe, I don't believe in this whole pick yourself up by your bootstraps. I think everyone does things together.
Yeah.
Right? You have to work together to achieve success. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for your honesty, each one of you. I want to shift gears a little bit. You know, at Microsoft, inclusion is central to everything that we do, and the culture has changed tremendously over the last few years. Oftentimes when I meet with founders, the first question I ask is, what's your story, right? And then the next question is, what's been your biggest challenge, right? And especially for underrepresented founders. And I have heard variety of challenges, and it's not just about funding, right? I know we talk about the VCs not having enough pipe for underrepresented founders. I think that's at the bottom of the list. What I would love for you to do is share with our audience what is just one biggest challenge. I know all of us have a lot of challenges, but one biggest challenge that you've faced as an underrepresented founder, and it just made you extremely vulnerable and said, gosh, this is it, right? Honest. Ketan, you want to go? Ruben, why don't you go?
I would say, I think one of the biggest challenges for people that are underestimated, I like that word that Arlen Hamilton uses, underestimated.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
It's super important. One of the biggest challenges for people that are underestimated is not just, like you said, access to investors and all these different things, is lack of understanding about how the game works, right? So
Yes.
if we're talking about, just so I know who's in the audience, raise your hand if you currently work in tech. Okay, that's a lot of people. If you don't work in tech, raise your hand. Right? The majority of people in this room should be not in tech, right? If we're talking about tech inclusion, right? Because if you're trying to help people that are underestimated, if you're trying to help people that are underrepresented, you got to teach them how the game works, right? If you give them access to all these opportunities, it doesn't matter if you don't know what to do. If somebody passes you the ball, you don't know how to shoot or how to score, right? Or you can't even think about opening, beginning, or end game strategy. So I think we talked about this a little bit backstage. I run a podcast called Breaking Startups, but if you think about radio is still listened to by the majority. Radio and television, the majority of people that listen to radio and television are poor. The majority of people that listen to podcasts and things like that are rich. And so, like, if we can start exposing our people to the opportunities and what's required in order to play the game, I think that's going to change a lot of things. And so, before I came here, I spent a lot of time studying that. That allowed me to circumvent a lot of things that normally would have been a challenge for me. And I'm not saying I didn't face any challenges, but I think that, like, that's the biggest thing that I think we need to do is, like, teach people the game.
That's great. Ketan?
I think when you're talking about being an underestimated founder or working in tech, I've always felt excluded from a lot of things. I felt different than everybody else. And that can create a chip on your shoulder, right? You want to stand out. You have to work harder than anybody else to make it. But I think what's really important through that process is what I call otherism. You have to be really careful of excluding yourself and the way your perspectives are if you say, I'm different and maybe I won't get this. I've walked into a room and felt like I didn't belong, right? And I'm sure a lot of you have felt that. But a lot of times these emotions that we have that come through our upbringings and our backgrounds, they're not always useful as you are building a company and as you are advancing in your career. So I've had to do a lot of work on saying, just because I have a different background doesn't mean I don't belong. And what's interesting in coaching, we realize a lot of the same fears that an underestimated founder or person would have, everyone else has too. It's not like, there's confidence, there's imposter syndrome, there's all these things we all feel. It's just that sometimes you feel like you're the odd one out. And I would ask everyone to challenge themselves is to recognize your own unique individuality and say, you belong here. All of you belong here. And I think that's the challenge I've always had to work on.
That's amazing. Irma?
Yeah, I think my response is just a riff, really, on on what you have both said, and the experience of being a founder. To be a founder, you have to have a little bit of delusion anyway, right? You have to believe something that nobody else believes can possibly exist to begin with, and that's part of the fun of being a founder. But I think too, there's a risk in that when you're wrong. And I think when you are underrepresented or an underdog or underestimated, it's sort of best epitomized. I think there was a series of studies, and it was they produced a book. It's called Bridges Out of Poverty. And in it, she gives this example of, if somebody from a low-income family dies, when you come to the wake, it's perfectly acceptable to bring a lasagna, right? You bring food to the wake of a person who's died. But if you go to the wake of a person who is maybe from a higher socioeconomic class, and you bring food, you sort of signaled that you don't know how the rules of that operation work because that's been catered, right? And so you've unknowingly sort of signaled that you don't know how it works in that class. And I think that when you are an underestimated or an underdog founder, what you're most afraid of most of the time is that you're signaling the wrong thing to the room, right? And so that's something that I think that we battle all the time, every day, in every room that we're in, maybe with the exception of this one.
Yeah. So I'm going to share an example of a founder that stuck to me for years, and it's just closely relates to what you have shared here. I met a 19-year-old girl in Somalia a few years ago, and extremely passionate, very driven girl, very, very sharp girl. And she wanted to conquer the world in Somalia, right, sitting there. She was barely educated. She barely made it to her high school because of lack of education there. And I remember having a conversation with her, and we were having a local tea. We were sitting in a local tea shop there. And I asked her, I said, what's your big dream? And she said, I want to start my own business. And I said, okay, well, what's stopping you? And she said, people think that I'm a girl and I can't do anything, and I want to prove them wrong, right? And today, she's partner with Branson Foundation in Somalia. She is right now 26-year-old, very super sharp girl. And it comes back to, the society, or the community that challenges us to say, you know what, you're not fit for this, but you still beat that. Thank you very much for sharing the vulnerable aspects of your life. We all know in our personal and professional life that experiences make us more wiser. It's not generally the age. Age is just a number. You can be 50 years old but less experienced, or you could be 20 years old and really, really experienced and wiser than that 50-year-old, right? My question to you all is, having learned so much, having been, having failed so many times, what is the culture you're trying to build internally within each of your companies? Irma, you want to go first?
Yeah. So first of all, failure is super important in how you treat it and how you characterize it in the culture of your workplace, right? So not villainizing failure is a huge part of the system that we're building, because it takes a bunch of things that don't work to produce something that nobody has ever built, right? And so to be able to create a culture that enables you to run through things that don't work, you have to accept that they won't. And that has to start from the very, very top. But I think for us, what it comes down to is, well, I'm wearing the shirt. It says, "No one belongs here more than you," right? And we everyone in our building wears them, and we put the message everywhere that we can. So in terms of culture and in terms of like what we really truly stand for, it doesn't really matter what your last name might be, what pedigree you might have, what your life experience has been, whether or not you were from a disadvantaged background, a privileged background, the color of your skin, your sexual orientation, any of those things. We think that in the technology industry, if you want to be good at it, that's evidence-based, right? And so the more you work for that and the more that you're willing to practice that and the more you're willing to fail, the more and more and more you'll be included into the industry as a whole. And so we stand up for that. We think that when it comes to the technology gap in terms of the number of jobs that are unfilled across the United States, where we are going to find the people and the human capital to fill those jobs are going to come from people who look like us. Right? It's going to be the underrepresented, the underserved, the underdog, who ultimately fills that job. And so we have to create that environment and culture of inclusivity such that you feel as welcome in the seat to fill that job as the person next to you, no matter where you're from.
Yeah, that's awesome. Ruben, you want to go next? Yeah.
Yeah, so the way I think about culture, I think culture is it's a manifestation of what you value. And I think culture creates norms that create behavior that ultimately shapes society. I really like what Ketan brought up earlier about the fact that we're all natural at something that's not natural to everyone else. And if you can't accept yourself, how are you going to convince anybody else to accept you? Like those are actually your superpowers. And to her point about failure, if you aren't embarrassed at the first version of your product, you've launched too late, right? So failure to make a decision is often worse than a wrong decision, right? My father's a physician. He says, MD at the end of your name stands for make a decision. So we encourage people to go after whatever they're going for, whether it's right or wrong, well, obviously ethically grounded, but like whether it's right or wrong, as long as it's directionally correct, you're going to learn something, right? The lessons are going to keep coming back to you until you learn them. And so she brought up dreams, and what I like about dreams is that when people go through our 3-week preparation process before getting into a job training program, we give them a shirt that says, protect your dreams, right? As you're going through this process of reinvention, remember that protecting is an action word, right? There's going to be some people that are going to be rooting for you. There's going to be some people that are going to be rooting against you. But you never want to forget who you are as you're going through this process. And so we want to help a billion people in 10 years not just get skills to work for companies, we're teaching people how to work for each other. So I can go into a whole bunch of stuff about company values, but I would say the main thing that I want people to understand is I want them to embrace themselves, accept themselves, and recognize that small habits make a big difference, and recognize that at the end of the day, success without fulfillment is failure, and you really want to understand what makes you happy and what your purpose is, not just as an individual, but as a collective. That's
cool. Awesome. Ketan?
So we just hired our first designer. We're a team of 3 now, and we're hiring our first engineer. Come look at me afterwards. But so we're still building our culture. There's still things that we're figuring out. But I think one of the important things is the words that you choose to use. So I don't like using the word failure. I view things as experiments, right? You try something with your user base. You try a new idea and you see if it sticks, you see if it works. And I want to create a culture where people are encouraged to experiment. Let's see if it works out, test it with users. We often ask our community all the time, what would you like to see? And here's an attempt at it. Another good example is a lot of people when we coach say, oh, I got rejected from a job. And I say, no, you didn't get rejected, you got declined, right? Because a lot of times the word we use are so powerful and they can affect how we feel. So I want to create a culture where the words we use are always in service to experimentation, into positivity, into finding ways of saying, hey, how can we try this again and do better, right? Rather than worrying about if you got it wrong. Because I think when people are afraid to make mistakes, they're going to be too afraid to be creative.
Yeah. That's true. And even internally within our team, we encourage experiments, right? In fact, the number one KPI when we have our team meetings, the first question that we ask each other is, what's your biggest failure? Share with us, right? And so we encourage our own folks to be open about it, because guess what? What we do on daily basis is working with founders, right? And entrepreneurship is all about risk-taking. And if you're not able to take risk and accept failure, then I guess that's not the right role for you. I want to switch gears a little bit. So the journey of an entrepreneur is a combination of success and experiments. We talked about experiments. I want to give this platform to you guys to share with the audience on who has been your biggest ally in your journey. It could be your mom, it could be your best friend, it could be a VC. Biggest ally, and help us believe that it's possible.
So interestingly enough, everyone on HireClub has their own coach.
That's why I'm going to call you.
Yeah, we dog food our product, and I've had a series of coaches through our platform because I try them out and see what's working. My current coach is Dominic Miranda, and I would not have been able to raise the round that we did without him, which gives us economic stability, which is hugely important. And so I think in general, all our coaches have been really supportive in what we're building, and especially Dominic. I can text whenever I have a question, whenever I'm feeling nervous about something, or I think there's a unique combination of being able to call you out on your stuff and still support you in that middle of that calling out, right? Which is an amazing set of coaching. So Dominic has been absolutely wonderful in achieving the success we've had right now.
That's great. Fantastic, Ruben.
I mean, I think personally it's going to be my parents, and then from a business perspective, I'll say Michael Seibel from Y Combinator. He was one of our first investors as well. And so I think that, for me as a leader, I don't think of myself as the boss. CEO doesn't stand for Chief Executive Officer. For us, it stands for create every opportunity, crush every obstacle, and we teach people to be CEOs of their own life and to hire, fire, and promote accordingly as they're taking agency of their own lives. We are all our own personal brand, as people aren't just working for one company and going to one school forever anymore. So you have to be your own brand as you're going through this. And my parents instilled to me the importance of being an artist growing up that's adaptable and can interact in any environment. And so if you think about an artist, in order to achieve success as an artist, you have to establish a brand. And in order to succeed as an artist, you have to have 1,000 true fans to find someone that can spend $100 on your product every year so you can survive. And so since I've graduated, I've worked in education and healthcare and politics and radio and a bunch of other things, but that doesn't make me just scatterbrained. The average tenure in tech is 1 to 3 years. So if you could be an engineer for 3 years, you could be data science for another years, and so just embrace the fact that you're not defined by your job. And you're not a software engineer the day that you get paid to become a software engineer. You're a software engineer the day that you write your first line of code, right? If you're playing basketball your first your whole life. You don't have to be a basketball player when you get into NBA. If you've been, you're an athlete, right? That's it. And you are your own person. And so I don't want anybody to look down on themselves. And I think something that I try to do every single day is just make sure that that we have full confidence in ourselves, and that comes honestly from my parents and my belief in God. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Irma?
Yeah, as a human being, definitely my mom, right? In terms of like the voice that's loudest in your head, which is funny too, because what you were saying earlier, the thing that she would repeat, her mantra was make a decision and make it work, right? Like move forward, one foot in front of the other, doesn't matter what's happening in your life. So as a human being, definitely my mom. From like a business perspective, our co-leads, Caper Capital out of Oakland and the New Voices Fund out of New York, amazing, amazing human beings. We're talking about people who fought and won and then chose to put their money back into the communities that they care most about. I mean, Richelieu Dennis, who is one of our leads, says, the revolution must be financed. And we believe that deeply, deeply. And so the words of our leads are actually motivating now to us as a business in terms of how we conduct ourselves and the way in which we're going to expand.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. I would say my biggest ally has been my mom, who's always challenged me that pick the thing that frightens you the most and go get it. And so, we all have our personal stories behind what we do up front in our professional life. I know we have a few minutes left here. I want to wrap up with tapping into your experience once again. If there was one piece of advice you would give to your younger self or to the audience here, right, and you have to be honest, right? What would that advice be? One piece of advice. You want to go first, Kate?
Wow, just one for my younger
Just
self?
one. That's why I said just one.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Like, now is the moment. Today is the day. Just go for it. I have sat on my ass so many times thinking, oh, not today.
Yeah.
Not right now. I can't, I'm not ready. I need this. I need why. I need to go buy this thing in order to do that thing. And it never made a difference, you know? And I just went for it. Like, just go for it. Because I think we paralyze ourselves with fear. But through action is when we actually learn. And so I would tell my younger self to have started this company 20 years ago and just go for it.
That's amazing. That's great. Ruben?
Yeah, I read this book called Finite and Infinite Games, and if I had that mindset a little bit younger, I think a lot of things would have changed. Like, with a finite mindset, there's rules, there's known players, and it's about winning and losing. With the infinite game mindset, the point is not to win. There's known and unknown players, and the rules can be changed, and you just have this mindset of abundance, and there are no restrictions. And to his point, the people that I've seen that are super successful aren't just born smart. They just work really hard and don't quit. And honestly, if you're very talented, that can often be a crutch. And I remember as a child, for example, I have been blessed with that gift, but I didn't take my history classes as seriously or my music theory classes as seriously because I was better than a lot of people, but I could have been way better if I took that a lot more seriously early on. So just like really embracing this like life of abundance, having the confidence knowing that you can do anything that you want to achieve, and just having this infinite game mindset, I think is key.
That's amazing. Thank you. Irma?
I would have taken your mom's advice.
Okay.
Seriously, I would have done the scariest thing first.
Yeah.
I would have come out sooner. Yeah, I would. That's the scariest thing I've ever done by a long shot. There is no board meeting. There is no stage. There is no room that I stand in today that makes me terrified. Not as compared to that. So, if I had one thing to say to my younger self, it would have been: come out sooner, own your power, gain that confidence, and you'll be a new person.
That's amazing. So, with being so thoughtful and so transparent to a room full of strangers, firstly, I want to thank you for that. It's not easy coming up on stage and tapping into personal, emotional stories. So thank you first for that. I'm going to wrap this up with just summarizing what we have heard here. Different backgrounds, different stories, different country of origin. We're all here, right? We are all fighting for the same thing, which is the next big dream. We are all fighting to build a company. We've built companies, right? At the end of the day, it's not about funding. It is about bringing human connections together.
Yep.
It is about relationship building, whether it's building relationship with your next door neighbor or a VC or another entrepreneur. With that, I want to thank you for an amazing, super, super conversation. Thank you guys so much. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.